Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. I hope that you are all doing well and that you are all having a great day. Welcome back for a Q&A video where you can send me your own questions that you may have on the cryptocurrency space. So first things first, the opinions expressed in this video are my own and should not under any circumstances be taken as legal, tax, and or investment advice. Another side note is make sure to not send personal information about your particular crypto holdings. A lot of people have been asking me very detailed questions about their own finances and stuff like that. I cannot answer these as I am not a professional. I may give you not advice on certain things, but I'll give you my own feelings on it. But I will not ever tell you where to put your money or what to do with your own funds. And please, if possible, keep your questions around this length, if possible, maybe even this length. There were a couple of emails that I got. Some people sent like 9 paragraphs worth of stuff, and by the end of it, I wasn't sure if it was a question anymore or if it was them trying to tell me something. Not really sure. So anyway, without further ado, just had to touch on all of those things. Let's get started. This one is from Nicolas. I think I said that correctly. He says, great idea on this Q&A email thing. Not sure it's the best idea for you who wanted to take a break a couple of days ago. Believe me, I know. My feeling is you're going to get totally swamped with questions. Nevertheless, I do hope mine gets your attention. I'd like to hear your argumentation behind the increase in price of XRP, the token, not Ripple, the company. I love Ripple. I think it's maybe the only company in the crypto space with an actual proper use case. It is undeniably going to revolutionize the transfer of money on a global scale with its products, especially XRapid. But as you know, Ripple has been trying to distance itself from the XRP token. As you already know, the token isn't an essential part of any of the Ripple products. XRapid can also work with any token. So here's my question. What is the reasoning behind the increase in value of XRP token apart from FOMO, that is fear of missing out? I know you've just made an XRP Ripple video this week, but it was mostly about Ripple, its products, and how bright the company's future is. You didn't really touch on the logic behind the rise of XRP's token value. I'd love to hear your point of view on this. Thanks in advance. And yeah, so okay, where do I even start on this? So as far as them distancing themselves, what's been happening is we had the entire argument, or the thing that was going on within the United States, of people saying that XRP could be a security of the company Ripple, which would mean that if you were holding the XRP token, that you would then own a stake in Ripple, the company. And as you may have noticed, what I think happened is that the SEC, as 2 of the members of the SEC are actually on Ripple's advisory board, probably told them that people were whispering about the possibility of them being declared a security. And therefore, I think at some point the Ripple team decided, especially with the SEC and other people behind them, leading them or guiding them, if you will, telling them exactly how to distance themselves. And I think part of this was also with them, what's it called? Like where they made like a new XRP logo, which the community also decided on, which means that it was more of a decentralized thing and it wasn't the actual Ripple company themselves being able to create a brand new logo that everyone simply had to adopt. There was a community who had to adopt this new logo, but I don't think that there's necessarily distancing themselves from the XRP token. If you notice as well in the other video that I was talking about, they have raised funding in order to be able to fund startups who are going to be exclusively using the XRP token or who are finding use cases for XRP, the token, as well. What I think is happening is I think that they've taken a step back because they were too, it's kind of like how everyone for a very long time was calling XRP simply Ripple. Like even a lot of articles that you read right now when people are talking about the coin, they refer to it simply as Ripple because they were synonymous for so long. It was, they were the exact same thing. So I think for legal reasons, they've been trying to make sure that people know that the ledger is distributed. They do not own the majority of the validation power on the network, as they've been showing that they've been taking their nodes off of the network. And this is kind of what I think that it is. I don't think, me personally, that Ripple has actually moved back at all. I think it was more like a ghost step, if that makes a lot of sense. I think for legal reasons, they had to seem as if they were moving back. But like you said around here as well, don't assume or don't think that the Ripple team is leaving XRP behind at all. They do own a large amount of XRP, and it's in their best interest to not only have the coin survive, but also see the price of it rising sometime in the future. As far as XRapid can only actually work with any token, I myself have never heard of this. I'm sorry if I'm incorrect in that statement. I have never heard of that, but one of the main reasons why XRapid was created was for XRP. The same exact thing with XCurrent that can also use the XRP token as well. That's not to say that someone else might use the technology and then find a way to use another token, but as it seems right now, at least the news that we've gotten over the last 2.5 years from the Ripple team is that like I've said, is that their focus is relying around the XRP token. I think it would be kind of weird of them if they launched XRapid and then they announced that they were going to be using Bitcoin on top of XRapid, or if they were using, let's say like Digibyte or some other coin that's out there. I don't think for any moment that the Ripple team, this is just how I feel and how I see the entire situation between them talking about it, especially if you look at their chats. They have like fireside chats where they talk to people in the cryptocurrency community, or like they sit on stage and stuff like that, and they have like their lead developers or the people who are behind creating the infrastructure for XRP. It's like all they kind of focus on. So like I said, I think for legal reasons, I think they stepped back a tiny bit as far as like maybe talking about it in public, what have you. But I don't think for a second that they're anywhere near close to even thinking of leaving the XRP token behind, because for what it's worth, once again, Ripple and XRP are still synonymous. They are like a symbiotic thing that's kind of feeding or leeching off each other. And so the question is, what is the reasoning behind the increase in value of XRP token apart from FOMO? So it comes down to FOMO, speculation, and the anticipation of utility. When it comes to FOMO, everyone has FOMO. I think as humans, we are incapable of not diving into the network. I am guilty of this many times. If I see that I just bought a tiny small fraction of Bitcoin or any other coin and I see that the price is going up, the fear in my head tells me this is it. This could be the moment. We could be seeing a 10K Bitcoin. Let's get into the market now so that I have it cheaper. That's just something that's always going to happen. Speculation, as far as a lot of people are, thank goodness, slowly realizing what Ripple, the company, is and what the XRP token is going to be used for and who is going to be using it and why it is going to be used, and the potential of the volume that we're going to have when we have so many other companies getting into this, this space who are going to be using the XRP token, and thus the price rise. And also, like I said, the speculation of utility, as far as if many companies are going to be using this, will the price rise? How high can the price go? And once again, the FOMO is, if I don't have the token, or if I did not get in at this price that is listed right now, and the price goes back to the last all-time high that we had for XRP was $3.60. If I don't get it now, then I am going to kick myself for not getting it at around $3.60. To be 100% fair, this happens with every single coin. When you see the prices of anything in the cryptocurrency space rising, at least at this very moment, the time of me making this video, to the beginning of 2010, it comes down to speculation. Everyone has been speculating for a very long time on cryptocurrencies, and this is why a lot of the people in the space, you've heard Vitalik, you've heard Charles Hoskinson, the guy who made Cardano, you've heard Brad Garlinghouse, you've heard even Charlie Lee. They're all constantly saying that now is the time where you have to prove your coin's worth. You have to show that your coin is actually worth something, and this is what we're moving over to. By the end of, I don't even want to say this year, I want to say the middle of 2019, I think this is when the actual utility, the actual usage of the coins is going to happen. And this is my belief. By 2020, a lot of the coins that we have right now are probably not going to exist, and the coins that are actually being used on a daily basis, these are the ones that are going to be used. I hope I answered your question. I tried to be as thorough as possible. I've received a lot of XRP and Ripple emails, and I am trying to mush them all together if I can. A lot of them have had very similar questions, so I'm trying to I like this one simply because it was a bit more detailed and had a couple of questions that I'm pretty sure that a lot of other emails were also asking at the exact same time. But from here, let's move on. Next one is from I Am Quincy. First, thanks for the quality videos in the sea of garbage. That is YouTube. You're welcome. Has institutional money arrived too late for Bitcoin? Surely people are always looking for the next big thing, and on the next big bull run, new money from retail investors will be looking to go somewhere else. I'd like to believe that Backed will save Bitcoin, but I fear it will just be temporary unless this is a bigger plan ahead for Bitcoin, or is it just the old crypto money planning to sell a dead horse to the masses whilst they accumulate real value coins? Has institutional money arrived too late for Bitcoin? I don't think so. I think institutional money has entered. And remember, a couple of weeks ago, we had someone saying that not only is it going to enter, a large part of it is already here, and people have been buying from the over-the-counter market, wherein they're buying from things like Coinbase, where they don't have to actually buy on an exchange, so we don't see the volume. I'm pretty sure this has been happening for quite some time. The fact that we even had news that the people who created Backed had been working on this proposal and this plan for the past 5 years tells me that this institutional money has been here for quite some time. But I think a lot of it is being held either offline, they're buying over the counter, and they're kind of doing what the Winklevoss twins have also done and are doing, where they have their money or their coins potentially on a like a net, maybe a nano ledger, in different banks around the world. I don't think they are too late. I think as far as like the next big thing and the next big bull run, what I think is happening is that there's so much infrastructure built around Bitcoin, and even more so the stuff that we don't see. Like I said, the news that we get on a daily basis, or the news that we get on cryptocurrency websites, is one thing in itself, and that doesn't even comprise the things that are actually happening in the background. I don't think there's going to be a next big thing. That's just how I feel about it. I feel like the coins that we have now, let's say the top, not even the top coins, somewhere between coins number 1 and 30, these coins randomly, whatever the coins in this list, are going to more or less solidify themselves in place at a certain point. This has been predicted by a lot of other people as well. They said by 2020, when we potentially have trillions within the market, it's going to be very difficult to move certain coins out of their place, especially coins that have $100 million market cap as opposed to coins that have a $2.5 million market cap, what have you. As far as I don't think there's going to be a next big thing. Maybe there will be a coin in a couple of years that ends up becoming a major name. But I think that Bitcoin, my opinion, has solidified itself enough. The same exact thing with XRP and the same exact thing with Ethereum. There's a reason why you always hear about them, why there's such a clamor constantly around these coins. And the last thing, say Bitcoin temporary. So along with this as well, remember when I made the video and I was talking about, it might have even been in the future of Bitcoin video, where I was talking about all the things that that's going to happen with Bitcoin, and especially the entire thing from back then, the New York Stock Exchange, and the NASDAQ is also talking about it as well. I feel like there is some sort of internal agreement that has already been reached with, sorry, I was making sure that my computer was plugged in. Anyway, I feel like the powers that be, if you want to call them this, not that they've decided in like a dark room, like nefariously, but I think that they have come to an agreement that so much infrastructure is being built around this, especially when we have other major banks talking about that they're getting into it as well. You would never, ever, 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 ever see major banks or any type of large institution talking about getting into Bitcoin or cryptocurrency unless they had been doing research on this for at least the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, like they said that they were doing for Bakkt. So I think that this has all been planned. Everything has already been solidified, if you will. I think that Bitcoin, when the people who are making Bakkt talk about that they think that Bitcoin could be a world currency within a couple of years, that for me right there, being able to say that sentence out loud lets me know that not only do they maybe believe in Bitcoin, but their coffers, their pockets, their bank accounts, whatever you want to call them, are probably full of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies already. This is not something that happened haphazardly. Like I said, 5 years is a very long time. This means that they've been thinking about it a lot longer than other people have even thought about beginning to try and touch Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is definitely going to last for a very long time, unless something detrimental happens. And at this point, I don't see a future where Bitcoin is out of like the top 10 coins. I don't see it. I could see something potentially in another multiverse where Ethereum or XRP is a number one coin. I know a lot that might annoy a lot of other people, but logically and mathematically, I spoke about before, the future of Ethereum and how high it could possibly go when we finally do have the scaling on top of it, and Ethereum is housing 15,000 apps and thousands of different websites. I could see that as a future, but I don't see Bitcoin. And even then, I think the people who are running these organizations and things like that, trying to get Bitcoin further or constantly talking about Bitcoin, I think they would do everything in their power to push Bitcoin even further. That's kind of how I feel. I don't think they would have wasted their time building up everything that they have just to kind of like fake people out. Like if it had just been the New York Stock Exchange doing it, I could have said, okay, maybe watch out. But the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, the other stock exchanges around the world, I think Fannie Mae is also getting into it as well. Like it's too much. It's too many large names trying to get into this space. And it seems like it would be foolish or stupid of them, my opinion, to have built it up, put money into it, and then just have some major plan to knock it all down and end it, where they are also going to potentially be losing billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars, if that kind of makes a lot of sense. Once again, how I feel about it. Next up, this one says, thoughts on the mega company opening in Nevada. From what I understand, they will be operating on Ethereum. Also, Barry Silbert is involved. I find it interesting that Silbert is a backer of Ethereum Classic and Digital Currency Group, which is behind Lightning Labs. What does it all mean? Thank you, big fan. So I read this and I had no idea what was actually going on. I think this is what you were talking about. It seems like that I found something similar to it. So this is the article that I actually found on this. It says, mysterious blockchain company buys enough land in Nevada to build a city. It says a mysterious blockchain company just bought 62% of a 162 square mile industrial park near Nevada. That's 67,000 acres. This land has been bought at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, also known as Tesla's Gigafactory. I assume that's what was it, like Mega Factory? Yeah, mega company. Yeah. So I assume it's maybe the same. The Gigafactory is the largest building in the world with a planned size of 5.8 million square feet, about 100 football fields. That is massive. Blockchain's LLC land size comes to about 3 billion square feet. While no plans have been announced yet as to how the space will be used, we do know it is going to be big. The company seems a bit mysterious. This website is kind of bare bones with just a bit of information explaining what blockchain is, that they are interested in dApps and Ethereum, and that they are expanding Blockchain LLC in a research group that focuses on Ethereum development. The deal was made for $175 million and was done in all cash. So this has to be what you were talking about. Apologies if it was not. This seems the most likely, as you had Nevada mega company, sounds like a giga company or whatever the other thing was called, and that they are you have Ethereum Classic over here as well, and also operating on Ethereum. I'm not gonna even lie, I had never heard about this. This one slipped under the radar. Maybe my channel was just not paying attention to this when this actually happened. I actually haven't heard anyone else talk about this as well, so thank you for bringing this up, because it's very mysterious, if you will. It's actually kind of weird that someone would buy that much land, that they are interested in dApps and Ethereum. This is kind of one of the other things that I kind of say when I talk about the things that are happening behind the scenes. Like I said, I don't think this was major news, which is kind of weird that a blockchain company bought enough land that's large enough for a city, 100 football fields large, and the company's land size is going to be around 3 billion square feet. That is a lot of space for something, and them being interested in dApps and Ethereum, I'm going to assume that they mean dApps that are built on top of Ethereum, just me speculating. But these are the things that make me think that crypto isn't going anywhere. Like, not anytime soon. There's too much money behind the scenes. I told you guys that this had to be the very beginning of the channel in one of my videos. And I was telling people, I said I used to go to a lot of crypto meetups. A lot of them are kind of like about new coins and stuff like that, and other ICOs trying to raise money now. But in the beginning, it was more about like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, and some of the other ones that have kind of floated away. And I was talking to this woman one day, and she told me that she was working for families who lived in New York. We were discussing it and stuff like that, and she said it's really weird because she was like a wealth advisor, and she said that she was going to these meetings to figure out a bit more about what was actually happening. And a couple of the families that she was working with, like very rich families in New York, they would just send her like $5 million and just tell her to buy Bitcoin or buy Ethereum with it or buy some other cryptocurrencies with it. And it's things like that. She said she was very shocked, and she didn't understand why there was so much fervor and energy around the cryptocurrency space. But when you put all these things together, things like this is very odd. I wish it was in the news a bit more. I hope that we actually get more news about this. I hope this is what you were talking about. I'm pretty sure that it was. This is going to be something major, and that's just how I feel about it. I'm going to assume that even though it was $175 million in cash, which is still insane, this is probably going to be something that we hear about more in 2019 as far as the infrastructure building up for Ethereum. Like, when we get a lot of negative news about Ethereum, people were noting before that I said that Ethereum was going to die. There's a reason why when I make videos, I put things in quotes, or I say that this is said by someone else, is why I quote other people. I think Ethereum is probably going to be one of the coins that we have around for a very, very, very long time. There's so much money behind Ethereum. It's actually insane when you think about what's happening and what's going on with them. When someone gives news that they hate Ethereum or that they think that Ethereum is going to die, that Ethereum is going to go to $0, something catastrophic has to happen to the Ethereum team and the company and the blockchain. Like, everything has to completely fall apart. This is why I said before why we have so many predictions of where Ethereum is going to go, even price predictions as far as Ethereum could go, especially because we hit $1,300 last year. It went from $8 to $1,300, and we have speculation that once they get the updates going, that we're going to hit anywhere from $4,000 to around $10,000 per coin. But that's not, we're not here talking about price predictions. I do think this is very weird. I wish I could give you more information on this because it sounds absolutely insane. I hope that we do end up hearing more information about this because there's something definitely behind this. One person or one in general does not spend $175 million to build a space, to buy a place that's as large as a city and talk about that they are interested in Ethereum and dApps and then do nothing with it. I wouldn't be surprised if a large portion of this would be created into some type of like a mining facility to be able to mine Ethereum, potentially, and also like some type of a Google type place where people are just creating dApps that run on Ethereum and potentially maybe even use Ethereum as like a payment method, which would also be something that would be quite insane and very interesting. But once again, I don't think Ethereum is going anywhere, like, at all. No way, shape, or form. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Next up, I've been following you since I got into crypto. Love your vids. So interesting and informative and approached from an angle not common on YouTube. So, do you think the portfolio listed below is a balanced one? And do you think any of the coins listed will die? I am not a financial advisor. Please keep that in mind. I will try my hardest to answer this question. One, is it balanced? Yes, it is. You have a wide range of coins. Even just looking through them, you have a lot of the top coins as well. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance coin is also a very big one. Verge, you have like things that are, I'm glad that you stuck with coins that are at least in the top 50, 70. Like, I'm staying on the first page is very good. I have never heard of Heal myself. Do I think that any of the coins listed will die? That is, I guess, the question of the hour. To be fair, no one knows if any coin is going to die. No one knows the future. No one knows if quantum computers will destroy the Bitcoin blockchain. These are all hypothetical things. I will say, yes, your portfolio is very balanced. I'm glad that you have it this way. Never put your eggs in one barrel, one bag, one nest. Don't put all your money into one coin. That's very important. I'm glad that you kept up with the some of the more well-known coins. I'll say it that way. It says, I just dumped XRP at a good profit, but intend to get back in at around 5 to 10% of the portfolio. That's also a very good idea. I think that the XRP token and Ripple, the company, have very bright futures. I'm trying to tread lightly as I am not a financial advisor and I cannot tell you where to put your money. Simply because, one, I don't ever want to be in a situation where I explicitly tell you to do something with your money and then you lose money. I would feel bad, and I do not ever want to be in that situation. This was actually a double email, so if you click it open, it actually has like both the same text inside of it. It says, I've been watching your channel for a long time. You keep me up to date on crypto news. You do an amazing job. Thank you. With all the XRP news, FunFair launch of their casino seems to be unnoticed. I actually covered FunFair it had to be 2 or 3 days ago. I'm sorry that you missed it. I believe it was in one of the news I missed videos, like my weekend edition videos. I can't remember exactly where it was. If it was in number 7 or 6. FunFair was definitely in the news. We had news. Oh gosh, what was it? That they had expanded or something like that. I know FunFair hasn't really. It was FunFair and Salt that have recently actually been in the news, which is actually like kind of good. FunFair definitely has been around. I'm pretty sure you can even, like, if you Google and do like the last week for news and stuff like that, or FunFair, they've definitely been around. One of the main reasons that they, I guess, went unnoticed, if you will, is that they were trying to make sure that they had enough legal paperwork and stuff like that. They even announced this a couple of months ago. They said they're still active. They were at some gaming convention, and they said that one of the reasons why they hadn't been that vocal is because they were trying to get like casino and gaming licenses in the UK and a couple of other countries, because as crypto regulation reared its head into the cryptocurrency space, it was this kind of free-for-all was kind of gone. So they had to make sure that they were legal in the other countries that they were actually trying to launch inside of. And I think they said that if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember exactly what countries they said that they were doing it in. But as far as I know, have not seen an enormous amount of news from FunFair, but they have definitely been in the news and they definitely are still working on it. I apologize that I cannot give you any more information at this present time, but definitely if I find more information on FunFair, I will definitely add them into a video, simply because I know a lot of people are very much into FunFair, and I still believe in like crypto gambling platforms. I think they are probably going to have a very bright future, especially ones that are out, have already launched, and are trying to solidify themselves in the minds of people in the cryptocurrency world. Hello. What would be your top 5 low cap altcoins to own in the upcoming bull market? So once again, this is just my opinion. We're on CoinMarketCap right now. As far as like low cap coins, I assume you mean not low prices. I assume you mean market cap. So I'm going to try and stay away from the billions and swing over until like number 19, or rather 18. So once you get below $1 billion, as far as like coins for a low cap, I would say for me personally, I don't know, man. This is situation like this there's so many coins out there that I think are going to have a bright future, and it's difficult for me to even try and do 5. As far as this, I'm going to say I would choose Zcash. Zcash is very intensely popular, even like as far as like the market cap being below the $1 billion mark. But even in regards to its 24-hour volume being like how much higher it is than the other coins, privacy coins I think have a relatively bright future, despite what many governments not really caring about them and stuff like that. Definitely Omise Go. I was talking with a friend, and the fact that Omise Go is $3.75, I think is probably one of the greatest opportunities that we've ever had in our entire lives. There is not a huge amount of Omise Go circulating around. The Omise Go team is relatively quiet. People have been asking before what happened to them. They're quiet on purpose. They've said before many months ago that they aren't the type of people to consistently give out news about their coins, simply because they don't want a price hype. They don't want people to speculate simply because they sneezed on Twitter and everyone's like, oh, they're still alive, let me go buy their coin. They're also working with the team from Ethereum working on Plasma, which is the scaling solution that will allow them to be able to do 1 million transactions per second. So they're not very vocal. Omise Go is without a doubt. If you research the actual company Omise and the partnerships that they've been forming and the things that they've been doing, partnering up with countries, without a doubt, Omise Go is on my list for a very long time. If we don't hear from them for like 2 years, then I'll get worried. But as of now, they give out information maybe every 4 or 5 months or something like that. I would like if it was a bit more frequent. But I still like the Omise Go team and token. Oh gosh, this is so difficult. I'm going to say 0x, number 29, simply because of the Coinbase listing, and that's not even a joke. 0x has garnered a lot more attention over the last couple of months after Coinbase announced them. 0x has also been listed on a number of new exchanges, and other people are talking about adding them onto new exchanges simply because of the Coinbase hype. As far as like low cap coins for a bull market, should 0x be one of the coins that's going to be listed on Coinbase, I expect not only a much higher volume, but also a much higher price, simply because of, once again, speculation. Crypto runs on speculation. It runs in our veins. This is kind of who we are as a people right now. Steam is another one. I like the Steam platform. I used to be like really on Steam. I kind of stopped. But I like social media sites. Steam is one of the very few crypto social media sites that we have. I think the Steam price it was actually a bit higher. Steam's price actually fluctuates a lot. It doesn't really tend to even follow what the other coins are kind of doing. Sometimes it goes up really high. Sometimes it goes, as far as like a bull run, especially as, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Steam is going to be put on top of the EOS platform, if I'm not mistaken. I think Steam is definitely maybe one to keep your eye on. And as far as another one, like I said, there's so many other coins. I really wish I could just tell you every single one of them. I would say BAT. BAT is also another token that has been proposed that it may put on top of Coinbase as well. There are 1 billion BAT tokens. That may seem like a lot. It is not really a lot. I think BAT's, I can't remember exactly how high that it got before. But once again, this is all once again speculation on the entire Coinbase thing, simply because even though Ethereum Classic didn't do that well, Coinbase is still a market mover. I think there's a lot more attention, or I think there's a lot more money moving towards or flowing towards Coinbase than people actually think. And I think that BAT could in the future be a very large token. Like I said, I wish I could give you guys a bit more. As far as like wild cards, I will tell you, I would say, let's say FunFair, definitely. I think 1 cent is kind of insane. I don't think it unbelievable that we could one day see a $1 FunFair price. That's my idea behind it. Simply because having a coin, if we have a multi-trillion-dollar crypto market and seeing a $5 billion FunFair market cap, it's not out of the realm of possibility, especially even like a 2.5 billion at a 50 cents a coin. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Another wild card I would say would be Kin. This is very wild, simply because I like the idea of social media. I like the idea of people being able to transact between each other through like a texting app or something like that, and especially because they've already announced that they're putting millions aside in order to build the Kin infrastructure. I think it could have a bright future. Don't hold your breath on like a $1 Kin for any time soon, simply because there's so many coins. But I think the upside on this could potentially be quite large. Another one would be VeChain. I don't hear that much about the VeChain project, but I know that it is quite hyped, or people are interested in it. I hear a lot of, not a lot, but it has been people in the cryptocurrency space who are like dominant people, not crypto YouTubers, have mentioned VeChain as they've been talking before about like projects that they definitely believe in or things that could potentially move forward in the future. So this is once again why this is another wild card. I would go with Nano as well, simply because of, I think if I'm not mistaken, Charlie Lee once spoke about Nano, and I think that is a huge indication that he's probably not only in it, but he's probably working with them. And I have also been hearing relatively okay things about Nano, more or less. The last one is like the definite wild card. I think I have to even search for it up here. It's definitely going to be Salt. This is the last 24 hours. They've had a lot more tension floating around them simply because they've announced a couple of days ago, a day or two ago, that they are they've gotten approval to be able to open up in a number of other countries as well as states in the United States, which is very interesting because a lot of other crypto projects have either completely disappeared or they haven't gotten approval to open up in other countries. I like Salt. I told you guys before, I like the actual logo of Salt. I just think it's genius for some reason. And this is definitely a wild card. Salt has fallen quite dramatically. I think it was $16, $17, somewhere around here. At the all-time high, it's fallen because, like I said before, no one is really looking to get funds or loans in crypto when the market is down. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to even see a $5 salt sometime in the future, especially if we hit 16, 17 before. I think conservatively, $5 is definitely possible. And these are more or less the coins that I would potentially think of as far as like low cap coins in the upcoming bull market, because when we do have this next bull market, whenever it might be, people are expecting it to be completely insane. So when I try and give things that I would put my money in, it's simply like the whole salt thing. Like if it hits 16 or 17, I can definitely see 5. Like a 10x for anything is 1,000% that you've made, and that is already more than you would make in real estate and or any other thing through many, 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 many years. So hopefully answered your question. Okay. First of all, I would like to thank you for all your awareness and knowledge share that you are contributing to the open world. I'm a believer of blockchain technology and Ripple solution and keep sharing things with my friends and colleagues. One of my friends asked me the question about XRP recently, and he kept me wondering about the answer. I'm sure you could help. I hope I can. We all know that the developers gave Ripple Labs the XRPs, and they are holding almost 61% of the total 100 billion XRPs. In the market, there are approximately 39 billion units. Why can't the developer create more? I really appreciate and can't thank you enough for your channel. So they were gifted. Okay, where do I even begin? I guess the simplest answer why they can't create more is the protocol that states, you know, how Bitcoin has a protocol that states only 21 million can ever be issued and this cannot be changed. The same exact thing goes for XRP. 100 billion were created. No more can ever be created. And that's just kind of how it is. I don't really, there isn't really another answer to that. There's less than 100 billion right now, because I told you guys before, every time that a transaction happens on the XRP network, coins are burned. And this is why when you go to CoinMarketCap, you don't see the full 100 billion XRP anymore. That has to be the simplest answer. They're holding 61% of the total market approximately. Why can't the developer create more? That's what it comes down to. Like it says inside of the code that no more can ever be created. I hope I answered your question. That is as simple as it gets. If I did not answer your question, please send me another email and tell me what I missed. But I think I hopefully covered that. Yeah, it's impossible to create anymore. I've seen people talking before on other videos talking about that not only can Ripple create more, but they can also freeze transactions, and they can also like double the amount of XRP out there. And none of that's possible. I don't know where people are getting that from. I don't know if it's just people trolling in the comment section trying to get other people to believe that, but that's not a thing. That's not how this works. Question: what do you think about this? Humans will vote on how robots and AI shall serve us, though the only way to vote would require having ownership, staking power in the code software that powers the robots. One's voting power will rely solely on the amount of digital ownership or partition code. Example: voters reach a 51% consensus in regards to robots cleaning sidewalks until 9 p.m. rather than 11 p.m. in real time and goes into effect immediately. The software running the robot is updated automatically and the robot acts without delay. I'm pretty sure that this is actually how the future is probably going to be. Hopefully, should we continue to live in a world that becomes more decentralized, I would definitely like to see something like this, especially if you are living in a city and there is a problem and you think that, you know, if the robots are the self-driving cars, if the self-driving so-and-so, if the machines that are cleaning up the streets or whatever the case might be are making too much noise at a certain time and you want them to stop, everyone in the city should be able to go online and enter some sort of code or whatever and say that I do not want this to happen. The problem that I could see with this is that if votes are reliant on the amount of coins that you hold, as is believed that we're going to enter some type of a tokenized world, if you are then able to get more tokens than your neighbor has, then that means that you have more of a say on the network than someone else. If there's a situation, let's say you live in a city where there are 10 million people and everyone is allotted a token, you and your child and whoever else is living inside of your house, and you all get a token and you are then allowed to vote this way, that I could see definitely working. But if it comes down to something like the system that we have right now, as far as like someone creates 1 billion tokens, and it's kind of a free-for-all. They're all 1 cent, and everyone tries to, one person buys 3,000 of them, another person buys 15 of them. That could be a bit of a, because, you could make the robots clean 24 hours a day. Let's say you were rich enough and you bought up all the tokens. Let's say you bought up 52% of the tokens, and you decided, I want the robots to clean 24 hours a day. I want stop signs to always be red. I want this to happen. I want stores to close at 6 p.m. and you can control things that way. That might be a bit of a problem. But I do feel like we are going to move in some sort of a direction this way. I kind of feel like this is where IOTA is heading. Even though they're trying to be built into like the Internet of Things, and when IOTA's mentioned, they talk about being in refrigerators and cars and stuff like that. I could definitely see a use for the token as far as like being able to vote, or like staking your coins into the code or into the network to be able to give orders or like vote on what you, kind of like how EOS works. You can stake your tokens and say, I want this to happen, and then enough people vote for it, then something ends up happening. I've never really thought of anything like this, but it's actually quite interesting to think of a world where we can vote for everything based on like digital ownership and stuff like that. That's actually quite interesting. But anyway, hope I answered your question. I think it's actually quite interesting. I would love to see a world where there isn't just one head of state or one large entity who is ruling over everything. That would be a bit too much. It says, hey, TMI, I currently work for a microfinance institution in the Philippines, and I'm interested in companies using cryptocurrencies, providing applications that focus on lowering transaction costs on micropayments. I have no doubt that XRP has the cheapest transaction costs for cross-border payments. Was just wondering if they were efficient in their transaction costs within a certain country, like say the Philippines. Does Bitcoin have a dApp that handles microtransactions? Note, we still have spotty internet in certain areas of the country and no national broadcast facilities, so internet connection is expensive relative to our Southeast Asian neighbors. Thank you for your time. First question was wondering if they were efficient in their transaction costs within a certain country. If I'm not mistaken, as far as using XRP or XRapid or even XCurrent when it comes to transaction costs, but I'm going to focus on XRP as XRP is in this question. When it comes to transaction costs, it's always the same. As far as like, I think the transaction cost if you're sending money on XRP is 0.00001 of an XRP, if I'm not mistaken. I know if you are sending larger amounts of XRP, the cost does go up, but I don't think it ever hits like an astronomical amount of XRP. I think it's always less than 1 XRP if I am not mistaken. So as far as transaction costs for cheap transactions for cross-border payments, I don't think there is any distinction as far as like if I am in Barcelona and I'm sending you money to the Philippines, there is no real distinction. This is why, to be fair, all cryptos kind of work like this. There isn't a transaction fee length, if you will. Like stuff going from New York to South Africa will cost the same as if it was going from South Africa to Taiwan. Like there's no real thing on that. And does Bitcoin have a dApp that handles micropayments? So Bitcoin has a scaling issue right now, and they're trying to find ways to be able to build on top of the Bitcoin network. And this is why we have seen a major focus on people talking about Ethereum or EOS or the other platforms having dApps built on top of them, because Bitcoin can currently only handle 3 to 5 transactions per second. And that kind of hampers the usage of dApps on top of it. Pretty much if you were, it's the same exact way where CryptoKitties had Ethereum grind to a halt and they can do around 15 transactions per second. There aren't many, if any, or any at all, dApps that are built on top of Bitcoin, if I'm not mistaken. I know they're trying to build a smart contract platform, but that is also hindered by the relative slowness of the Bitcoin network. As far as dApps that handle micropayments, I want to say Santander just launched a payments app that runs on RippleNet, if I'm not mistaken. And as far as like micropayments with Bitcoin, this is kind of what the Lightning Network is for. Lightning Network is made so that transactions can, can be made for a relatively low cost, but this also relies on the actual adoption of the Lightning Network. Like, other people have to start using it around the world. Other exchanges have to all use it, because if everyone else is on the Lightning Network and you're not, then you cannot use the Lightning Network. But once we have the Lightning Network, you will, and also other side chains that are being built on top of Bitcoin itself, you will then be able to actually send not only micropayments on the Bitcoin blockchain or side chains, if you will, but also larger payments, because another reason that is, a lot of people have said that they have issues when they're trying to send larger payments and the network fee ends up being a lot higher. So all of this will be hopefully fixed within the next 2 years as far as Bitcoin. But as of now, we have a lot of different blockchains that allow for very cheap transactions. We have XRP, we have EOS. There's, you can Google, like if you Google like blockchains with no transaction fees, you'll definitely find them. And these are probably the easiest ones for you to be able to use wherever you are in the Philippines, so that you can send transactions cheaply. Hope I answered your question. This is going to be the last one. It says, hiya, I see that in your movies reports, there are not too many about VeChain. I read some articles about price till next 2 years, $75 per one. Is that possible? What do you think about price till end this year, where I can find the partnership news, as there are not many? I have real news, not FUD, from Twitter. Thanks. Have a nice day. See you by your next video. So VeChain is for, I keep telling you guys, and I don't know if people believe me or not. When I look for news about certain coins, a lot of coins just aren't really in the news. This is why I try to spread out the place where I get my news from at least 20 different places, so that I have like a wide range of news. Typically VeChain is not in the news. Once again, I apologize if I have not covered VeChain as much as I should have. I will try to put it in more videos when I actually find more news about it. Typically, if there's news like someone is talking about using VeChain, or like VeChain is being added to an exchange, sometimes I skip over those and I just add them in the weekend edition of my videos, because I don't think a lot of people would care for me talking for like 14 seconds talking about that something has been added onto an exchange. As far as like price predictions, let me look at VeChain. I think VeChain is a cent, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, VeChain is a cent. There are 55 billion coins circulating. What was VeChain's all-time high? 19 cents. Oh, no, wait, 1 cent. Okay, okay. Yeah, okay. So, okay. It's not out of the realm of possibility for VeChain to hit $1. That's not, 55 billion, not out of the realm of possibility. 50 cent as well, what have you, 25, 27 billion dollar market cap, not other. As far as like hitting $75, that's where it kind of gets a bit shaky. Typically, the circulating supply doesn't matter as much as people actually think. I know certain circulating supplies are very large, and therefore people think that certain coins can't get very high. If you had a VeChain price of $1 per coin, you would have a $55 billion market cap. If it hit $10, you would then have a $500 billion market cap. If you hit so that's where it kind of gets a bit shaky. I could see a $1 VeChain if people are using them, if stuff is integrated into them, if they become like a payment option, if they gain a lot more liquidity in their own market, or if other exchanges start using them and having like fiat pairs or other crypto pairs to them. I maybe need to do a bit more research into VeChain, simply because $75 is kind of along the line of like XRP hitting like $50, $50, $60, $70. That can, of course, happen, but there needs to be a huge amount of usage for your coin. Like if XRP is to hit $100, this means that it has cornered a large amount of the financial world. It has fiat pairs and also other crypto to crypto pairings on multiple exchanges, and VeChain would kind of have to hit that as well. At the moment, VeChain doesn't have an enormous amount of news around it. It doesn't seem to have the same amount of hype that Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, or maybe even sometimes Litecoin actually have around them. That's not to say that it is out of the realm of possibility that it could happen. But I would scooch back a bit when it comes to the $75. I would say I could definitely see $1. I could maybe even see $10 somewhere potentially down the line, which would be a ridiculous return, as VeChain is only 1 cent. But looking back, as far as like prices and stuff like that, I mean, I can't really give you an exact answer. But once again, I will try my darndest to be able to give you enough, or rather a little bit more information on VeChain should the opportunity present itself, and if there's actually some of it in the news. All right, everyone, that is going to do it for this video. I don't know if you guys noticed throughout the video, the inbox number kept on going up. I had to make like a separate section for the actual questions, just so you guys didn't constantly see like new emails pushing the other ones down. If you continue this, is what I definitely like this. I like being able to answer questions. It makes me feel bad when I can't answer your questions, or when I get so many in the comment section and I just can't keep up with all of them. Hope you all enjoyed. If you think I missed something or something else you would like to ask, please send me an email and I will try my darndest to get to it. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, and or evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. Thank you once again for all your support and all your emails, and I will talk to you all soon. See you.